So Tracee Ellis Ross, she's definitely going viral again because she's saying she dates younger men. And she's getting a lot of backlash from it. And I'm not understanding the reason why. And she was on a podcast with Michelle Obama and Michelle Obama's brother. And they asked her a question about her dating life. And this is what she has to say. I have the video, and then I'm going to come back with my commentary. So check this out.
I mean, we've talked about this that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because
Let's stop on that, folks.
oh my God, we had a
Several
great dinner.
snaps on that
we
one.
had a great dinner, by the way. We're across the table. Your husband goes, but why? I can.
Yes, Maurice. This is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracy's.
It's fun. She's really fun to share.
Tracy tales.
But
You date a younger
I'm sorry.
woman.
but one of the
Younger men.
reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Because I want a partner. And so often, and it's not just that I'm older, I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot in my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize and I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again. Because I mean, we've talked about this that often I date younger men, and a lot of it is because
Let's stop on.
I feel about that. Here's what I think about that. And Tracee Ellis Ross is your prerogative. You can date who you want to date as long as they're legal. Okay, if they're not legal, then of course we don't understand that is definitely a offense, and you can definitely be charged with that. So we're not saying that at all or whatever. But as long as they're legal, it's definitely justified. But at the same time, though, just listen to this back and forth with her and Michelle. Like, okay, Tracee, what I don't agree with you. Seem like you're grouping all these men your age and older, grouping them all together and talk about toxic masculinity. What in the world is toxic masculinity? I'm not understanding that, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about toxic masculinity. And you can't, just because you had an experience of this quote unquote toxic masculinity with one gentleman, that's your age or older. I think it's unfair for you to group all the men right around the same age and saying that all of them have toxic masculinity. That's far from the truth. At the end of the day, if you want to date somebody that's younger, because there's some younger men out there that have this quote unquote toxic masculinity that you're referring to, but to me, it seems that with her going on to this show, and because she mentioned something about it, saying that people ask her about her dating life because they're so concerned about it, which I don't understand the reason why all that is, but people are nosy and they just want to know. But to me, it's almost like she seems like she's very career oriented, driven, and to me it seems like she's a runner, she's a track star, and she don't want to be in a serious relationship for God knows what reason. That's what it seems like to me, because hearing her talk and she's telling Michelle Obama about how she's whole and how her life is and all these different things or whatever. A lot of times when women come out and start talking like that, and men as well, but specifically women, older women like that, usually, they are trying to deflect on the reason why they are single at such a older age. Now, you remember Kevin Samuels had said something about this a while back ago, and people are referring are deferring to Kevin Samuels when he starts speaking about older women. As women are starting to get older, their value, or they start depreciating as far as like trying to find somebody, found a spouse, or they trying to find some companionship. As they get older, the dating pool started getting smaller. And he said also that the target area for the woman is between the ages of 30-35 is like the sweet spot. Well, 25 to 35 is a sweet spot to where there's a period where they supposed to be able to be in the peak of their prime, and they're able to get, and the pickings is plentiful at right around that time. So when you hit a little certain spot, after 35 years old, if you haven't landed a significant other, a spouse or companionship between that little spot area, once you cross over to the 35 and 40, it starts getting harder and harder and harder, because he was saying that the woman dating pool has become smaller and smaller and smaller, because she missed that little mark, that spot. Now, I don't know how true all that is or whatever, but that's what was said from Kevin Samuels. But when you see Tracee Ellis Ross along with Vivica Fox and Lisa Ray, you name all these beautiful sisters who are single, or they may have been married once, or maybe never been married, but you see these beautiful sisters and they are single like that, and they are so career oriented and so career driven, and they're saying, hey, look, they've turned to the point to where they're saying, hey, I'm more about my career, and I got things going on in my life and all of whatever. That's fine and dandy, whatever. But a lot of times it sounds like they're deflecting, because again, they are past their prime. They're past that age of where they were able to, once they were the stuff, and they can pick and choose any man during that particular time. But now they ran his course. Now you're single, and now you're like Vivica Fox. She's saying, hey, look, you know what? I want to be in a relationship with somebody. Now, she's singing that type of tune. You know what I mean? So my thing is this with Tracee Ellis Ross and any other women that's out there that's single, 50 plus years of age, I wish you nothing but the very best. I wish you well. And I'll honestly believe that there is love for any and everybody, regardless of what age that you are, But at the same time, I believe that we have to stop with these different narratives and these agendas that we're pushing on a lot of our youth, with these talks about saying, hey, I'm a independent older woman, or I'm a independent man who don't need no woman, or I'm a low energy man or a low energy woman. I'm a high value man and a high value woman. All those different narratives that we've been hearing from these so-called quote self-proclaimed gurus of relationships, which I think those gurus have been one of the most destructive, confusing, fake, phony type of information that's put out there known to man on social media platforms. And that's just my opinion about all that. So anyway, again, like I said, find love, everybody, is definitely out there, and you will definitely find who it is that you're looking for. Okay. So that being said, make sure you go and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at all those platforms at Mr. Know It All Reactions. And I will see you next time. Peace.
Wait, hold on. What? You done forgotten my name? My name.